We are here in Amazon Japan's office, and this is the actual first in-person interview we've done for the Japan CPO Association. So Alan, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alan. I lead product for Alexa Japan. I've been at Amazon for 6 years, and earlier this year I moved to Japan to lead this role. Previously at Amazon, I worked within the seller experience team. My team was responsible for building products that help sellers, vendors, and brands sell globally, and really building products to improve their experience.
Great. So Alan, can you tell us about life before product management?
I've always been interested in technology. I'm really interested in building solutions to really drive a big impact. But I haven't always been in product management. Prior to Amazon, I actually wasn't in a product management role. I had held roles across multiple functional areas, from sales, marketing, operations, engineering, and finance. Just prior to Amazon, I was in a company called iCracked, which is an on-demand iPhone, Samsung device repair company. We had 5,000 technicians across Japan, UK, United States, and Germany. And it was super fun. If you break your phone screen, you push a button and a technician will come to your house, coffee shop, or an office and repair your phone on the spot. And then before that, in that role, I was leading operations as well as sales and marketing. Before that, I was in a general management role at a call center direct marketing company. And in that role, I was really leading, helping our associates sell thousands of products across healthcare, home gadgets and kitchenware, as well as magazines. And then before that, I was in the semiconductor industry, leading financial planning and analysis at a publicly traded company. And then before that, I was designing circuits for microprocessors at Advanced Micro Devices. So the common thread throughout this whole career of different industries and areas has been really data analytics, and looking to see what are the problems that we have and how do we drive improvements to solve them.
So what got you into the door of product management?
Well, what I learned was that a lot of what I was doing in my roles before Amazon actually was product management. We were looking and seeing what is the customer's problem, and then how do we know, how big is it, and then what solutions do we need to do to solve it. Sometimes those were internal customers, sometimes those were external customers. Even in the marketing roles that I had, we were looking at conversion rate optimization, and a lot of that wasn't really just about ad spend and media buys. It was about what is the actual journey, what screens are they seeing, what UXs should they be seeing in order to improve their confidence in the purchase funnel, as well as what is their overall experience in terms of after a sale, how do we interact with them as well to increase lifetime value.
Can you tell us about your role as head of product of Alexa Japan?
Sure, happy to. As head of product for Alexa Japan, I'm really fortunate. I lead a team of really strong product and program managers that are responsible for improving the experience when any customer is speaking to Alexa in Japanese. Alexa is a product that is available to be your assistant, your advisor, and is a really fun and natural experience for customers to interact with. And customers interact with Alexa in many places, through their Echo devices, through their Fire TV, through their phones, and through other third-party products that have integrated Alexa into the applications. And then within there, our team has product managers that own music and smart home and entertainment and video and knowledge and personality and all of these different components of Alexa. So what my team works to do is when new devices and innovations are launched, we localize and bring those products to the Japan market so that the latest and greatest devices Amazon's releasing will work great for Japanese customers. When we launch brand new exciting features, we want to make sure those features are going to work really, really well and customers will be delighted by them. And then my team also works to continuously improve the quality. Customers can say anything to Alexa, and we want to make sure that Alexa is delighting them in its responses. On top of that, we look at our Japanese customer base and we see what are their unmet needs. What problems can we solve? And we work backwards from there to build solutions to address those problems.
Great. So you mentioned sort of solutions for the Japanese market. Can you tell us a little bit about the Japanese market and maybe any sort of interesting things or challenges that you have working with the Japanese market?
Yeah, the Japanese market, it's a great market and it's super important to Amazon, and we're growing, and it's really exciting to be a part of it. Some of the unique challenges that Japan faces, particularly with products like Alexa that are speech and language understanding products, is the complexity of the Japanese language. The Japanese language has more homophones and homographs than any other language that's out there in the major markets. And on top of that, the writing is in a mixed script system where a single sentence can include kanji, hiragana, katakana, as well as Latin characters. This makes training for the machine learning models more complicated and really makes it more difficult for us to make sure we really understand the context of a word and what a customer is asking Alexa to do, so that we can do the right, to make Alexa work well.
Alan, I'm interested to know why do you have a head of product for Alexa Japan?
That's a great question. At Amazon, we really work backwards from the customer. And it's really important for us to be close to understanding what are the needs of our customers, what are the unmet needs that they have, and really doing the research to understand why. And with Alexa, it's a product that we literally need to understand what are they saying, and then when Alexa responds, is Alexa responding in a way that is correct? Is the pronunciation correct? Is this the right context, the right tone, the right level of formality? And so for this reason, we have product managers in Japan who are able to really be closer to the customer and understand all the nuances that are unique to the Japanese market.
Right, and since I've lived in both countries, I know even things like the way the houses are designed are different, and just I imagine there's a lot of cultural differences that come into play as well.
Absolutely. You know, the houses in Japan, the layouts of a lot of the apartments in Tokyo, for example, are more modest in size than a lot of the households in the United States, where they tend to be laid out differently. And so for that reason, where customers place their products within a house within Japan may be different than what it is in other parts throughout the world. And thus the features they need on their products and how well they work can also be different. And so understanding these differences between countries that could be driven by interest from customers, as well as physical locations of where devices are, is a reason why we want to make sure that we're here to build great products for our customers.
Great. And can you now share with us about the product organization structure, or how Alexa Japan works with Alexa and HQ, maybe globally?
Yeah, it's Alexa is a global organization. We really want to make sure that Alexa is everywhere that our customers want it to be. And in Japan, my organization is structured around what we call single-threaded owners. And single-threaded owners are individually responsible for something that Alexa can do. So they as individuals can control and impact all the customer experiences within Alexa Japan. And so I have single-threaded owners that own all the launches of our new devices. And so they're responsible for their success. And we've got product managers that own music and our timers and alarms and videos. And they're responsible for making sure that those features and experiences are fantastic for the Japanese market. Alexa as a product is rather complicated. There's globally distributed engineering teams that all have to work together to make Alexa work everywhere in the world, including Japan. These are teams that are responsible for the wake word. So does Alexa wake up? Recognizing an automated speech recognition, routing to the right place of software technology behind the scenes, making sure that we have the right answers and we have the right speech and language understanding end to end. And then the pronunciation, how does Alexa actually then talk to customers? Is it speaking the correct language? Is it pronouncing words appropriately? These teams are in India, Asia, all across Europe, certainly in Seattle, as well as California and Boston. And so we get to work with a globally distributed team to bring these experiences together.
Great. So you just mentioned, I imagine, a lot of dependencies among various teams, as well as prioritizations of different requests for different regions. So how is all of that sort of structured and prioritized and built?
Yeah, great question. It's a lot of prioritization. As product managers, you need to understand not only what is your customer's problem, but how big is it, and if we make this change or launch this feature, what is the impact going to be? Sometimes I'll hear about problems and they'll say, yeah, this is a problem. And we ask, well, how big is it? It impacted 10 customers last week. And sometimes that's enough that's severe enough of an issue that we'll prioritize it. Other times it's a small nuance. And there's other things that would require the same amount of investment that could impact thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers. And so we have to make trade-offs in terms of what is the impact, what is the cost, and when we're prioritizing. And this happens globally. It typically works within each technology team that we work with. And so there's a lot of coordination and a lot of stakeholder management to try to make sure we're moving things along quickly.
Just out of curiosity then, if there's so many global teams that are dependent on various other teams, are the launches staggered, or are they, in terms of, like, are product launches independent so that the dependencies don't all come at once?
We move really fast at Amazon. It's a very large company, but and I've worked at startups and medium-sized companies, and Amazon moves pretty much as fast as a lot of startup companies, and so we're all moving in parallel. Some of the ways we have lots of, we call mechanisms that we use to ensure that we're operating in a way that we're aligning everybody. And sometimes we actually have dedicated resources in different technology teams to make sure that we're putting enough effort on Japanese or Italian or French or whatever the language might be or whatever the country might be. So we're fortunate enough that, when, for example, in a couple teams in the United States, we have dedicated individuals there for Japanese, making sure that we're really understanding the linguistics appropriately, and other technology challenges that we have.
You have a very diverse background. So when you're looking to build out your product management team, what sort of person are you looking for?
That's a good question. So I'll actually answer this more from an Amazon view in terms of product management, because when we hire for product at Amazon, we're looking for people that not only can do the job well, but also have a lot of potential to grow and really grow professionally at Amazon. And we have leadership principles that we use that really govern our hiring decisions, as well as promotions and performance reviews. And I'd say there's four that really come to mind. The first is customer obsession. Amazon aspires to be the world's most customer-centric company. And so we need product managers that are truly obsessed with our customers. They know the customers, they know their problems, they're curious, they're asking why. And that leads to the next one. They really want people who are willing to learn and be curious. Asking why is arguably one of the most important questions a product manager can have in their toolkit. Someone says, we should build this solution. Why? What problem is this solving? That's a key phrase, I think, for a lot of product managers. And then the next two are really around ownership. As I mentioned before about single-threaded owners, if you're a product manager at Amazon, you own this feature. So if something's not going right in that feature, you're the one who's responsible for it. And then lastly, communication. You have to, with a large globally distributed team, you need to be able to earn trust. And how do you interact with people? How do you escalate in a way when necessary that actually builds trust and informs relationships? Disagreements happen, and that's okay. Two good people can have very reasonable people can disagree on the same topic, and it sometimes is a judgment call. And so how do you surface the right information? Say, hey, team A views it this way, team B views it this way, here's what they each recommend. We need some additional guidance on which path to go down. And so escalating quickly so we can make decisions.
Can you tell us about any product management development, either you do personally or maybe something you do at Amazon?
Yeah, absolutely. My goal as a manager of product managers is to help them be as successful as they can be at Amazon. My job is to help them unblock and help them grow so they can deliver better results for our customers. And we do this through a couple of ways. Amazon has got some fantastic online tools and trainings for product managers. We also hold conferences internally where we're advising, people can learn from other product managers. Another way that we learn is really through how Amazon operates. Amazon's a peculiar company. We don't really use PowerPoints. We don't really talk out loud in person very frequently like this. We're very much a document-heavy culture. So we write documents to explain, here's my proposal, or here are the results from last month. And when you do that, you get lots of feedback. So if you write a proposal, you're going to get a lot of feedback on what is your mental model? How are you prioritizing? What are your risks? What are your mitigations? Why are you doing this? Are you aligned with these other teams? Or how does this project here fit with this other project in dependencies? You'll get these questions, and through those reviews and all the feedback, you can continuously get better at knowing what you need to do to be successful as a product manager.
Interesting. So that must be what I read about, where in a meeting everyone brings a doc and you spend the first 5 or 10 minutes reading the document and then discussing it?
Yeah, it's normally more than 5 minutes.
So that's a pretty long document.
Yeah, I mean, the documents are no longer than 6 pages.
Wow.
But I was in a meeting this morning where we spent 30 minutes in silence reading a document. Pre-COVID, we would be in a meeting room, could be as many as 40 people in the room with printouts reading the document in absolute silence. And then we open it up and say, okay, overall feedback. And then you go page by page and go to your questions. We do the same thing today. This has actually worked quite well with being remote work. We just do it on a video call. Wow. And yeah, so it's hard to make these documents, but when you write documents, you have to write in sentences. You have to use headers. You have to be structured, and that forces clarity of thought. So
interesting. So that's probably a great practice that we could all do.
Yeah, it's hard. It takes a lot of time, but it's really worth it. And the other thing that's fantastic with this is because it works really well that I think it's one of the benefits of Amazon and working with distributed teams is you can send these documents after review. So even if it's in a different time zone, I can then send my document to somebody who's in London and they can understand, oh, this is what was read and here's the meeting notes. And so they're able to really get the full context of everything that was shared at a meeting.
So you mentioned the product con. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think that's something that's very unique at Amazon, at least as far as I know.
Sure. At Amazon, we have thousands of product managers, and as part of the ability for Amazon to help continue to develop product managers, every year there's a conference that we put on that has lots of panels and sessions where product managers can learn from other leaders within Amazon as far as how to improve products. Some of these are tactical discussions, which are really talking about, okay, how do you groom your backlog? How do you prioritize features? Some of these could be around stakeholder management. Other ones are much higher level discussions around establishing visions and how do you establish North Star metrics for your products.
So this is all just for Amazon employees?
Just for Amazon employees.
It's
a fantastic conference. And then what's great about Amazon and also our document culture is a lot of this is documented. So even for employees who weren't able to attend, they can still access all the materials and get value if they didn't attend in person.
We can see that common thread of documentation throughout Amazon.
Yeah, we also have Slack channels that we use as well, and there's a few out there for product managers. And I've seen a number of product managers using these to ask advice, whether it's like, hey, if I've got questions around building XYZ type security features, which teams do I contact? Or hey, I want to learn what are the best practices for walking the store to evaluate what is our customer's experience? Where can I find these? And lots of product managers can jump in and be really helpful.
Great.
Yeah.
So if you can go back in time and go to a time maybe before you were a product manager or thinking about becoming a product manager or we just got started, do you have any advice for a younger version of yourself?
Lots of advice. I think hindsight, I think there's probably 3 big things. The first is really prioritizing a deep understanding of why are we building this and what problem are we solving for the customer. I've seen this a lot of times at companies that are really celebrating a solution or celebrating the ingenuity of a solution is And that's actually not the best way to go. It's much better to understand, to celebrate what is the impact of this going to be on customers. Sometimes it's a very, very simple solution that can yield the largest results. So really, the more you know about what problem is you're solving and for who, you're then able to deliver bigger impact. The second one I'd say would be trust but verify. Particularly when you join an organization, you hear a lot of things, and but you have your fresh perspective. And so when you do in a situation like that, ask a lot of questions. Sometimes long-held beliefs and hypotheses are actually incorrect, and really validating that those things are real, those are supported by evidence from customers or data, is a really valuable thing to do when joining an organization. I think the third piece of advice I'd have would really be to be aware of what stage are different products in. Sometimes products are at the stage we're still identifying and clarifying the problem. Sometimes we're in the solutioning. Sometimes we're in the execution stage. And so being really clear about where are we on a product and what does success look like for the end of that milestone. Is it, we're all going to align on this is the solution, or we're trying to align everyone, this is the problem that we are going to solve. I've seen sometimes a lot of ambiguity in organizations where they're already in the execution stage, but not everyone's even on board with what is the problem that we're solving. And so making sure to really drive clarity in there as a product manager is important.
Great, thank you, Alan. So last question, do you have any last words you'd like to share with the audience in Japan?
No, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to interview me. I've had an amazing experience so far at Amazon and especially in Japan. Alexa's growing, Amazon's growing, and it's been an incredible place for me to work. And so I would certainly encourage folks to consider Amazon as well as they look to grow in their role product.
Great, thank you, Alan.
Great talking to you.
Cheers.
Thank you.